Welcome back to Auto Time Barbecue. Today we're going to be cooking a brisket low and slow on our Kamado Joe Classic. We're going to start by trimming the brisket to get rid of all the fat and make sure that it's mostly meat. So let's zoom in and let's trim our brisket. Okay, so we're zoomed in and we're using our Drippies. This is the medium size one, and the brisket that we're doing today is just under 10 pounds. It's at about 9.8 pounds. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it out. We're just going to put it on our board here. And just inspecting the brisket, it does have a bunch of just fat. We're going to cut all this off because I want to have this silver skin. So there's silver skin there. And then there's this big muscle here that we're going to cut most of this out, because, or not muscle, it's fat, but it's hard fat, like it's not going to go anywhere. And then we'll do some trim around there. Here there's this little corner here that we will probably take off and do something with. And then on this side it's the same thing. So there's this big piece right here. And this is not gonna break down either. So we're gonna cut all of that out. And then on the back, over here it looks pretty good, but we're gonna trim this off because we want, kind of fresh meat, and then we'll see what we end up with over here. So let's get started. So I have a pan for the cuttings, because we're gonna likely make some tallow, or we're gonna do something with it. But we're gonna start. I have a very sharp knife. So we're gonna just start by trimming some of this off. And our objective is to expose meat. And this brisket, I think, is going to take a little bit of time. Just because on this side I really want to have meat exposed, because that's where the seasoning will adhere to. And we don't want to cut too deep here, because we want to leave as much meat as we can, but we do want to try and get rid of as much of this fat layer on this side as we can. And again, I'm saving these, so hopefully we'll be able to turn that into sausage or burgers or something. And we'll trim this off here. Let's get it started. But likely we're going to cut that corner off, because one thing that you'll see is on this corner it's like really thin, and over here it's not even in the same category. So we will likely cut that off. And the way I'm doing this is just trying to get under the silver skin, like so, and then make a cut, and then cut out. Okay, that's a hard piece right there, so we're gonna cut that out for sure. Just kind of cut down this way. And again, and then this is for the backyard, so this isn't like, there's no competition here. Doesn't need to look super pretty. We want to try and keep as much meat as we can, and just have as much flavor as we can. So down here we're gonna just cut that off as well. Okay. So we're gonna try and cut this out, and this is a whole hard piece. So I'm gonna go pretty deep here, I think. And this is into the point. So we're trying to cut that whole thing off, and there's very little meat in there, and that's all just hard fat, and there's still a big piece of it there. So I'm actually gonna turn this around, because I'm gonna try and cut that out as well, because that stuff's not gonna render. So we can just cut it as much as we can. And there's a little bit left there. Let's see if we can We can cut a little bit more out. A little smidge there. Okay, there's a little bit here. Okay, and you can kind of go crazy here a little bit, but we're gonna stop pretty soon here. Okay. Okay, so now we're down to meat. Okay. One thing I am going to do though is that if you look at this side here, you can see that this is where it was exposed to air before they packed it and before they cut it. So I'm going to cut off probably a good 1/4 inch on here, and I'm just going to use my sharp knife and just go right down. And we're going to save this because, you know, this is another one of those things where I'm just going to, that'll make great burgers, or it'll be, you know, good to make tallow with, or, you know, really just use in, you know, for something else. So we're going to stick that stuff in the freezer and we'll figure out what to do with it. Okay, and there's another big piece of that. Okay, and then that leaves us just on this last bit here, and I'm going to do the same thing. And again, we're not taking too much meat here, but you know, like that's what it looks like on the outside, that's what it looks like on the inside. So it really does improve it. And the other thing to point out is you can see, like, get a really clear picture of the fat. So like up here, that's probably about what we want. So we're going to trim, when we flip it, this side down so that it's about that same level. Because we do want fat, but the fat shouldn't overwhelm the beef. Because if you look at it, you can see that there's lots of intramuscular fat in there. Okay, so let's flip it over. So now that leaves us with this piece here, and this kind of flips out. So we're actually gonna cut that off as well. So I'm trying to, let's see here, there you go. Okay, and if you look at this, like there is some meat in there. And again, this is going to go in to make burgers, but like this is all, it's all fat, and that's not going to, wouldn't cook very good. Okay, so here we have, you can see that we have this here, so there's a lot of fat. So we're gonna try and cut, I think, a bunch of that. Actually, there's that little piece right there that's just kind of hanging out. There you go. Okay, so our objective here is not to cut too deep, but to cut some of this fat off. Nope, see, we went a little too deep. But again, this is for the backyard, so it's no big deal. What we're trying to do here is just promote even cooking throughout it. And this fat here, so this is not hard fat, this is soft fat. So that'll render down. So we'll probably make some beef tallow with it. And then use that in future recipes. Okay, so you can see now we've cut that down, and it's not clean, but it's about a 1/4 inch. And then right here, we're gonna do the same thing. So like right here, you can see that it's much more than a 1/4 inch. So we're just gonna take some fat off the top. And I'm trying to put my hand below it to use that as kind of a platform to push against. Okay. Okay. See, so now we're down to about a 1/4 inch, a little bit, maybe a little bit more there. Okay. Okay, let's see how it looks over here. See, 1/4 inch again. It's not clean, but it'll work. It'll work for us. Okay. So here, I think this looks pretty good. There's a bit here, so I'm just gonna try and trim some more of this off. Okay, and you can see that there is a big chunk of fat there, but not the hard stuff. But actually, that is kind of the hard stuff. Okay, there you go. So there's our brisket. I think overall it looks pretty good. The only last thing to do is to decide what we're going to do with the end here, because as you can see, this part right here is really gonna cook faster. But the reality is, it's still meat. So I think I'm gonna leave it on there, and we'll kind of see how it goes. Okay, and actually there's that piece right there. Okay, so there is our trimmed brisket. Okay, so for the next step, what we're gonna do is we're gonna season it. And this is a brisket, so we can go pretty heavy on this thing. Because there's a lot of meat here, there's a lot of fat, and this is going to cook, it's going to cook, for 19 hours, and it'll take it. So we're going to be using Killer Hog's TX brisket rub, and this is a salt and pepper forward, salt, pepper, garlic, and kind of in good quantity. So I'll just put a little bit here so you can kind of see what it looks like. But it's nice big chunks. So that's the perfect thing for a brisket. So we're going to go and we're going to put it all over it. And one difference here is, like on ribs, on the backside of ribs, you don't necessarily really season, but on a brisket, you season it all, because it all is going to add flavor. Oops. I do have another jar of it, and this is at the kind of at the bottom of this jar. Actually, is that it? That's it. Okay. So let's just make sure we're good on it. And then you want to make sure we always get the sides. So there's because this is going to form the crust. And again, it's a large piece of meat that's going to cook low and slow for a long time. And I'm gonna pat it down, and we're gonna let it sit in the fridge in our drippies for probably a few hours before we put it on the pit, which we won't do until tonight. And this is the meat side, so we're gonna put a good amount here because we really want to have a good crust. And again, we're going to get the edges. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. I'm just going to pat it in. And I'm going to keep this handy for when we put it on, because you never know. We might need more. Actually, it looks like we could use a little more along this edge. There you go. Okay. So now that we've done this, we're going to take it and we're going to put it back in our drippies. So the great thing about this is, so it's in the drippies, then we just put the lid on it, and we drop it back in the fridge, and no one needs to see it until we're ready for it. So we just put the lid on. And the nice thing about this one, the height of this size does fit perfectly in my refrigerator. So we're going to take this into the fridge, and then we'll be back outside to start it cooking tonight, and let it cook overnight, and we'll check it in the morning. See you all later. It's 11 p.m. at night, and we've started our grill. We loaded it up with new charcoal. We put just one tumbleweed right there. Okay, so we're going to start by putting in some wood chunks, and this is going to burn all night, so I'm going to kind of try and get some chunks all over the place. And this, we're going to use hickory. So we'll put that there, and we'll put that there. Put some right there, and some right there. Okay. So that should get us going pretty good. Then we're going to put in our accessory rack, because this is going to be what we're going to put our heat deflectors on. So I've taken both heat deflectors and I've covered them with foil. I'd like to try and keep any sort of drippings off them if I can. So we're going to try and get this a little centered. And then I have a drip pan that's going to go right there. So hopefully the drip pan and the heat deflectors will cover everything. And then on go our grates. Whoops. Okay. And then I'm going to be using the RFX thermometer. For right now, I'm just going to start by putting it on the inside here so that we can start tracking the temps. Just so that we can, because we're shooting for 225, 250, kind of something in that neighborhood. I'm just going to put it off to the side over here. This thing's really easy to get going. All you got to do is, it's already paired with my phone, so we just press the button. It turns on blue to say it's turned on. It's now searching for the network. Once it turns green, it'll be connected. Oh, and actually it says red, so actually, I think you might be this. So I think we have to look for it on our phone. So I'm gonna turn it off, then turn it back on. Let's see if it finds it this time. There it is, green. Okay, so now we have our RFX gateway, and it's 52 degrees. So we're looking for 225, 250, something in that kind of, I think in that neighborhood will be good. And so I'm wondering if I'm just going to turn this around so that it doesn't so there's a little pressure put against the weight of it, and we can shift that around. Okay, so what we're going to do now is close it down. We're going to open the top, and we're going to let it start getting temp. So once it starts getting up to about, I'm going to say 200, then we're gonna, maybe a little bit less than that, we're gonna start shutting it down and getting it to the point where it keeps our temp. So I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, the time has finally come. So we're sitting right around 225, 230. The dome has some nice heat soaked into it. So now we're gonna start getting everything ready. So one thing I am gonna do is I'm gonna just pour some water into the drip pan, because that'll add some moisture. And just not really a lot, I think just a couple of cups worth. I'm also going to spray the grate, just to make sure it doesn't stick. And I'm going to move all of this off to the side over here. I'm going to get the brisket and get it ready to get put on. So I put the brisket on, and we're gonna shift it a little bit so that it fits kind of over the drip pan and over our heat deflectors. And I'm going to add a little bit of extra seasoning to it. There's a few spots here that look like they could use a little more. Okay. And I'm going to get a wireless thermometer. I'm going to, probably two of them, and I'm going to stick them in there. So I'm going to be right back. Okay, so I have two wireless thermometers, two RFX, synced with my RFX. So I'm going to put one kind of in this really, and these are hard to get in. That one's not going in at all. There you go. That one's in. And I'm going to put another one over here. Oh, man. Okay. So I have one kind of in the tip and one in the flat, and I'm just going to readjust it. Okay. So now we're going to let it go and cook it overnight, and we'll check on it a little bit. Okay, good morning. So we let this cook overnight, and it actually seems like it's almost done. We miscalculated the timing, I think, where this brisket cooked quicker. So let's see what it looks like inside here. See, and it's in the 200s, it's low 200s, like 201. Down here it's a little, I don't know, what I'm doing is I'm testing for how buttery soft it is, and I think it's done. So I'm going to actually pull it off, and we're gonna rest it. So we didn't actually need to wrap it or anything, because it's got a nice bark on the outside. It looks really good. So let's get the drippies ready, and then we'll wrap it and kind of let it rest for a few hours. Okay, so to wrap it, we're going to be using our extra large drippies container, and then there's this drippies blanket. It's got foil on the inside, and it should keep all the heat in while this thing rests in the basket. So let's open it back up, and I'm just showing some of the fat pooled right there, so I'm just going to pour that off. And this thing looks like it's nice and jiggly. It's soft. It actually looks like it's really ready. So I'm going to stick it in there, leave the thermometers in there, or the temperature gauges in there. And it's as easy as that to put it in there. Let's just put those down there. And this is, you can wash it, you can do kind of whatever you need to do with it. So we'll put that in there, and then we just pull up the sides of the basket. Actually, there we go. So I want it all the way extended. There you go. Okay. And then we're going to put the lid on. And we're going to let it rest like this for a few hours. We're going to take it inside. Okay, so now that our cook's done, before I start shutting the grill down, I'm going to just scrape down the grates while it's still hot. And I'm not pushing hard. These grates aren't affixed tightly in there, so I don't want to break anything, but I want to make sure we kind of get everything off the grate. Okay, so there, the grates are clean. So we're gonna close it down. We're gonna close the bottom vent so no air is coming in to the bottom. We'll leave this one open for a little bit, which will let hot air escape out, and then in a little bit we'll close that one down as well. Hi, and welcome back. So we have finished our brisket. It's been resting for 3 or 4 hours. It's inside here, and I'm gonna open it up so you can kind of see, and then we'll zoom in and we'll have a closer look. So I'm using the Drippies container, and then I have a Drippies bag that the brisket is sitting in. So that's what's keeping it warm. So let's zoom in and let's see how we did. So let's get the brisket out and see what it looks like. So this bag is actually pretty cool, because you put the whole brisket in there and then we can just pull it out, and there's our brisket. Okay, so I'll try and pull out I was able to get that one. There we go. So this is the point and this is the flat. You can kind of see that it's separated out pretty good. So I think what we're going to do, so the flat goes this way and I think the point goes this way, if I remember right. So we're just going to cut it, I think, like right there. And with my knife, there we go. So let's see what it looks like. So that's the flat side. Oh, and you can see the juice there. Man, that looks so good. And then this is, I think, the point side, and you can see the juice is dripping down there. So cut a piece off. This is the piece from the point, and you can see, if you can see that, but it's breaking apart nicely. So this is like a very good piece, and this is from the point, the fatty end, and it looks really good. So let's zoom out and let's give it a taste. Okay, so let's start with the point side first. I'm actually gonna see if it rips apart. It does, with just a little bit of a tug, which is nice. So I'm gonna just cut off this end piece here, and I'm gonna give that a try. Well, that's really good. You can definitely taste the bark. It's got a nice, peppery taste to it. So I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. I'm gonna just cut off this edge piece because I do like the bark. Okay, so this is off the flat. Both of those came out really good. Very, very flavorful. This cook, so just my final thoughts on this cook. Well, it didn't go as planned, meaning I cooked it overnight, and by the end of the day, or in the first thing in the morning, it was very close to the 203 degrees, which was fine. So I took it off and I put it in the bag and let it rest for 3 or 4 hours. And the end result is great. Like, even though it didn't take, 20 hours, it took 8 hours, it still came out really good. And, I highly recommend it. So if you haven't tried a brisket, don't be afraid. Do it. It's a big piece of meat. It's very hard to really mess it up. And this was my first one on a Kamado Joe. I've done them on pellet grills before, but I've never done it on the Kamado Joe. So I hope this video helped. I hope you got some good information. Hope you give it a try. Let me know put it in the comments. Did you like it? Did you try it? Did it work? Did you have any issues? Thank you. See you later. Bye-bye.